So welcome everybody, and I'll now hand over to Markus.
Perfect. So hello everyone. Hello from Poland. So we are really living EBCU today. So England, Poland, Netherlands, and wherever you are from. So it's great to see you all. First of all, please try to be muted all the time if you don't have any actions where you can, for example, ask questions or do things like that. And of course, if possible, have the beers ready. And yes, just a few moments how it will work. So I will do a little introduction. We will talk about the Christmas winter beers in general, a little bit also from a German perspective, of course. And then we will start with a beautiful story of Jan and Pet and their wonderful festival. So you will see a lot of nice pictures and you will hear this great story, which is for me one of the nicest we have in the EBCU. So really look forward to that. It will be a great evening. And of course, we have these three beers which we will be tasting together. So maybe just one moment. I try if the screen sharing works as I want it to. Here we go. And too many screens. One moment. No. Here we go. Yes, and please, Ellen, stop writing or painting on the screen. Otherwise, we will have to kick you out of the meeting. All right. So I go back. So I hope you all see my presentation. Brad, can you give me a signal?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Okay, wonderful. So it's about winter beer. It's about Christmas beer.
Yes.
So of course, it's about celebration. And that's what we try to do tonight. And as you see, a lot of Santas, like all of us in breweries, cheering with beer. Of course, this is an AI picture, but you see how it could be. And first, we have a look on the beers we will try tonight. So you have these three beers. The first one is Voeux from Brasserie Dupont. We will open in a moment. Then we will move on to Gouden Carolus, another great Christmas beer. And of course, as the name is saying, in the end, it's Stille Nacht. So it will be the end of this night. And maybe if you drink all of these beers completely, it may be also the end of your night today. Let's see. So, but it's a beautiful way of celebrating the Christmas beers tonight. So first of all, maybe just get your bon vœu. And it's great to have Jan and Pet with us. And they can show you the beer, and I will let you know a little bit. Maybe I put myself out of this now. So here we go. So we see the two guys, right, having this wonderful bottle. It is a very special beer. Maybe all of you know Saison Dupont. So the Brasserie Dupont, it's a Belgian brewery, of course. They are very well known for their Saison, but also for their Monette and other great beers. They also do great cheeses. And they made an invention in 1970 and created a very special beer as a gift for their best customers. And it was for the new year. So they said, we named the beer with the best wishes, so avec les bons vœux. And that's the name of the beer. And at the beginning, it was just for these very special customers. And then, of course, people liked it more and more, and they produced more. And so now it's one of their core range beers. And for me, it's one of my personal absolute favorites. So a wonderful beer. And maybe Jan and Pet, you can share your thoughts on the beer for a moment, because you already have it. Do a little description, please.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, that was maybe the shortest description of a beer ever.
Cheers.
Fantastic. No, but in general, what do you say about this beer?
Good evening. I'm Jan van Bragt, one of the co-founders of the Christmas Beer Festival in Essen, and also the vice chairman. And Bon Voeux is brewed by the Brasserie Dupont in Turp. As Markus has said, the name means best wishes. It has been on the market since the middle of the 70s. It is a strong triple saison, in fact, original breed as a special gift for the loyal customers. It is unfiltered, Blonde has an EBV of 9.5%, 12 EBC, and 40 bitter units. It's made from Pilsener malt, Kent and Styrian Goldings hops, and season yeast, special season yeast. Due its great success, it was brewed year-round, but still only this year they start again in August to be a real winter beer. So now it's only produced in the winter time. The brasserie Dupont was established in 1844 as a farmhouse brewery, and now worldwide is the biggest brewery with the highest production of saison beers, where the workers would farm in the summer and brew in the winter. The aroma is very special, I think, distinctive with a touch of light sourness, a bit funky, a bit yeasty, bitterness, hop bitterness, and I think also a touch of coriander. What do you think?
So maybe you write your impressions in the chat if you have any comments about how you enjoy the beer. Maybe you can also write what you're having with the beer if you have some food, for example, cheese, for example, Dupont cheese if you have it. So it's really worth visiting the brewery. Go there if you have the chance. It's a totally beautiful, beautiful place. And maybe if you're lucky, you can even find the old cruise ship. It's hidden in the brewery, but you can find it if you have a good look. So,
not to influence the tasters, but the taste is mildly bitter with and for me personally, it's a very dry mouthfeel. So an interesting beer, and it's in fact an exception of the tradition of the Wallonian brewers who brew a strong, dark, and spicy beer. This is not dark. This is not spiced. Maybe a touch of coriander in it, but I think it's a very nice, strong triple saison, special brewed, and I like it very much personally.
So wonderful. So enjoy this beer, and during your enjoyment of this beer, I will let you know a little bit about the topic or the terms of these winter beers or Christmas beers. I will share my screen again. I hope it does. So here we go. Yes, so these are the 3 beers for today. Maybe a quick word on myself. I'm Markus Raupach. I come from Germany. I'm the president of the German Beer Consumers Union, so the German part of the EBCU. I'm also delegate, and so we are meeting every half a year in the EBCU and discussing what to do and how to bring the consumer things forward. And of course, we are doing a lot around beer and beer consumption in Europe too. And also I run the German Beer Academy. That's my company here. I wrote a lot of books about beer, and also I'm beer judging. That's the reason why I am in Poland right now, because we have a beer competition running right now. And or we had it running yesterday and today, and now we have a conference the next 2 days where we're also talking a lot about beers. And I couldn't take the beers with me because of the plane, but I have some Baltic porters, so I enjoy also some beer with you. So about this topic of Christmas beers. So first we have to think, what is the general idea? And the general idea is we have the Christian year that maybe looks a bit complex, but the thing is we have in the Christian year the big celebration days like Christmas and Easter. And these were the days where, of course, you celebrated the birth and I don't know the English word, but you know it, Easter. And but what we normally associate, especially in Germany, with the Christmas time and also the Easter time, is not the fest itself. It's the 4 weeks ahead, because these were always the times of Lent. So, for example, here, Advent. So 4 weeks in the Christian year, we were not allowed to eat a lot. So we had to drink a lot. And so we had special beers for that time. And the same again, also the 4 weeks before Easter. And this is where we have the typical term of Bock beer, which we have in Germany. There's also a Dutch Bock beer. Maybe we do a workshop on that next year or something like that. And so that's what's mostly associated with Christmas normally. So if you look into the German idea. We have these bock beers, as I said, made for these 4 weeks before Christmas or before Easter. And just a very, very little inside view. It all started in the city of Einbeck. This is, of course, a modern picture of these beers. We are here in the 15th century where it starts. And they produced their beer, named after the city, Einbecker Bier. And from that name, from the city, derives the term of bock beer, because it's a short version of Einbeck is Beck, and so it went into bock beer. Unfortunately, the city got destroyed and burned down, but the brewmaster came to Munich and took the beer, the knowledge, and especially the yeast with him. And when he came to Munich, he started also brewing a beer in the way they did in this beautiful city of Einbeck. And you see that next to it here, it's the Maibock at Hofbräu, which was made for these 4 weeks before Easter. And this was brewed first in 1614. And what is very special is that we know that this brewmaster from Einbeck came. He had his ale yeast with him, and it was like a domesticated animal. So it was a perfect yeast trained to make very nice, very strong, very intense beers. And this ale yeast came to Munich with the brewmaster and met the lager yeast, which the Bavarians were using. It was a low potential lager yeast, but they met together, they fell in love with each other and formed what we know today as the modern lager yeast. So this is the reason why the modern bock beers are all lagers now, mostly because it turned in Munich into lager beers. And this new hybrid of these two yeasts was then capable to produce high alcohol, high quality beers, but at low temperatures. And that was like a breakthrough. And from this Maibock, maybe the father of all the double bocks, this is this one, emerged Salvator, brewed by the Paulaner monks in Munich. And they named this beer after their Lord, their Savior, their Salvator. And so this is the name of this beer. And this is what we normally also associate with our bock beer times. And next to it, you see another bock beer, just to complete it, because you know I am from Bamberg. Maybe I didn't mention it yet, but now you know. And in Bamberg, we have all these smoky beers, smoky stuff. And of course, you can also do bock beers with that. And that is, for example, our oak smoked bock beer, a wonderful beer. And this is what we have in these 4 weeks before Christmas and 4 weeks before Easter. So we wouldn't call this Christmas beers, but if you ask 100 Germans on the street, what beers do you associate with Christmas, they would always say a bock beer. But if we are really looking for Christmas beers, then it's more like this. We call this fest beer, festivities beer. And there we have, for example, these two on the left side, which are just brewed for Christmas, for opening on the 25th of December. And also, for example, this here, this is also made for the Christmas market in Nuremberg, where we also then celebrate, of course, Christmas with such a beer. So this is the idea, maybe to understand that if we talk about Christmas or winter beers or whatever, it depends if they are made for having the festival days like Christmas or like Easter, or if they are made for the Lenten times before. And if we talk about the fest beers, the fest beers for the festival days, they are typically pale, a little bit stronger beers like exports, or even a bit more stronger like Oktoberfest beers or something like that. So this is the idea behind. And the bock beers, they are more traditional, they are more according to the old way, so there you can also get a lot of dark ones, or for example also smoky ones. So this is just a little roundup about the idea of Christmas and winter beers as we have it here in Germany. Now, of course, we come to the celebration of the wonderful festival of Jan and Pet. And I try to stop the screen sharing here. And I have a little look in the chat if there is any question. So no, all good. So perfect. If you have any questions, we also can talk at the end. Oh, and I see, Jan, you have a Schlenkerler Eiche. You're making me very happy.
Well prepared, huh?
You're my hero. Perfect. So now we hand over, and as I said, enjoy the journey to this wonderful festival and story which they did or they still do on the border between Belgium and the Netherlands. I've had the chance to be there 3 times now, and it was always a wonderful time and just great. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for letting us know.
Okay, I have the honor to present our club, Ober, the objective beer tasters of the Essen area, Ober, and it's the same word for waiter, so it's a sort of funny word. Has been around for 31 years and is one of the oldest and the largest local associations within ZITOS, the Belgian Consumers Union. We were founded as a small local club and inspired by the OBP, the Objective Beer Tasters of the predecessor of ZITOS. And the idea was to organize a Christmas beer festival in Antwerp by a local club at that moment, the Dolle Brewers, so the Mad Tasters, who had this team at a beer cafe called Beerland. Both of them existed only briefly, and we took this idea further, growing it from something local into what is now a worldwide beer event, which we are very proud of. Since the beginning of the 1994, we have aimed to offer all winter beers, Christmas beers brewed in Belgium. So the presentation of all beers at one place, that's unique, I think. Also, the second thing is that we serve all the beers in a tasting glass of 15 centiliters, and we have a booklet, also a festival guide, which we are very proud of, with all descriptions of the beer, so we can help the visitors to make their choice, and also a sort of inspiration to say how rich is the palate of the Belgian Christmas beer over the years. Back in 1994, we had only 93 beers, of which 5 were on tap. I can show you our booklet, and that's, well, I think, a serious study and serious work to get all the beers, more than 220 beers described. So we started with the preparations in August. It's training, it's serious work, but we love to do that. So now at this time we can present 221 beers, including 22 on tap. Over the years we have changed locations twice, and since 2005 we have been hosting our festival in the Heuvelhal. It's a big sport hall, and in 2006 we received the Jean Lambin Award from the Academy of Regional Gastronomy, and that was a wonderful recognition. For the past 10 years we have also introduced our own original limited festival beer each year, such as special editions like the Stille Nacht Reserva, Kerstvuur Oak Aged, Geturfde Kerst. Last year it was Cuvée Fred Waldman, maybe you know him, and this year it will be the special Christmas of the Butchers, brewed by the Vleesmeester. Since 2015 we have been using pre-sale tickets to avoid very much stress and unexpected crowds before the bar. Every year we are sold out, and we start in August. We don't know wish to grow any larger. Our visitors are also an opportunity to vote for their favorite Christmas beer. And today we are also tasting 2 of the winners, the Stille Nacht and the Gouden Carolus Christmas. And as third, we have also tasted the Voeux, which was originally brewed only in the winter as a gift for the customers. So that was a short story about our success, about one of the most famous Belgian beer festivals in Belgium, and we are a team of volunteers. So all the beers are served by volunteers. We can count on the festival team, and I think totally we have 60 people who make it to a big success. So if you have the opportunity, if you have the tickets, we will welcome you next weekend. And it's not possible for this year, maybe for 2025. So we will meet again.
Yeah, Markus.
Yeah.
Maybe you can start the KBF presentation. There are some pictures of the festival as it is now, and also some of when it was very young. And,
Yes, and
in the pictures will laugh at themselves.
yeah, one moment. Maybe we could before that open the next beer, because I think maybe people are thirsty to try the next one. And of course, if you didn't finish the Voeux yet, you can continue that later on. But maybe we do with the next beer with the Gouden Carolus to try that. And yeah, you can do it just alone. And I will start the presentation in a moment. And also, I would love if you also could tell the story a little bit from the beginning, because what I really like is that you have this enthusiasm of, let's say, some boys meeting in a garage, which is now this big festival. So please let us a bit share us this experience, share us your history behind that. So I will now look for the presentation and try to get it run. Here we go.
It works.
One moment, and this, and now I have to do screen sharing. Here we have it, and there we go.
Yeah. So this is our mascot. He's an ober, and an ober is a waiter, as Jan explained. It's could you move on? Like this is a view of the hall. The hall isn't that big, but it's the biggest we have in our town. And that used to be well, we moved to this hall in 2005, and at that time we were afraid that we wouldn't get it filled. Move forward a few years, and the crowds grew and grew until in 2013, 2014, it became too much. The fire department has put a cap on the number of people we can entertain in the hall, and in those years we had to post someone at the door with a counter, and then when the hall was full, it was, sorry, you're not getting in now, which was annoying. And another thing that we had to do in those years was hire security, which was something we absolutely hated. But luckily, all that changed since 2015 when we introduced our reservation system. And Markus, you can scroll along if you want to. It's not that important. It's just people in a hall drinking beer. And,
But as I said, it's really wonderful, and you have these 3 huge bars with all these beers. Now we have a little look behind one of these bars. Perfect.
Yeah,
it's fully decorated, so it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's not the nicest of halls, but we do our best. And this is the team. So all these people are volunteering during the weekend, serving beers, cleaning up, manning the kitchen, whatever there has to be done that weekend. And we're very happy with them. These are a few of the beers. On the left top corner is our special beer of last year, the Cuvée Waldman. we have a better picture of it later, but and the rest is yes, as Jan said, we aimed to bring all the winter/Christmas beers brewed in Belgium. We have two rules for the festival. One is the beer has to be brewed in Belgium, and the second is
Wolfgang.
there was a noise. And the second is that they can only be available during winter time. So,
Wolfgang.
so no beers that are on sale all year round. It's just that for the Voeux, the beer we had just a few minutes ago, we had to make an exception because it's the favorite beer of our founding father, Gerard Peters, who founded the club, and he wouldn't. There's someone writing on the screen, beer and a heart. Okay, we all love beer. We do.
Yeah, I just removed her, and I will start the screen sharing again. So here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Anyway, as I was saying, we made an exception for the Voeux, avec les Voeux du Brasserie du Pont, de la Brasserie du Pont, to be complete. But since this year, they're only available during winter time again. Yeah, I've gone a bit off my how do you say? Lost my script. This is a very early picture in the first location where the Christmas beer was, and if you the man right in the middle with the curly black hair is this man.
That's me. Thank you.
This is Jan, yeah.
95, 96.
This is you.
And also our actual chairman, Gunther Mertens.
Who's also in a very small little screen on the left hand side. And Gerard is the man with the beard, and yeah, I mean he's third from the left.
Yeah,
he founded the club, and he's the reason why we always had the Voeux on our festival.
And so at that time the bar was only 8 meters long, so with five drafts, so it was a limited place. Also, it was not the very first location that was at the college, but this location was near the church, and we were there, I think, 10 years.
Until it grew too small.
Yeah.
The festival grew too big. It's also from.
Yeah, maybe you can tell us a little bit of the story of the very first time. So, how did you come together? How did you come to the idea? How did it start? And how did you really start the process of doing this every year again?
I'll let Jan explain because I'm way too young for that.
It was in '93, I think, that I organized a tasting at the local beer shop, and there was some clients, and at the end of the day, at the bar, I had to be empty with all the beers. So at that moment we said, okay, we can better start a beer club, and I think that initiative was took by Gerard Peters, and I said, yeah, I will join the club, and we can try that. So in the beginning time there were only 20 members. And I think one time in 6 weeks we had a tasting with some commercial beers. We tried it was before internet, it was before that they talk about the beer geeks. We were beer lovers, we tried the new beers at that moment, and yeah, never thought that it was the beginning of something like over at this moment, the large local association within Zitos, more than 400 members, I think. So originally it was a tasting to start a tasting club.
And then how did you concentrate on the Christmas beers and what did you do when the Belgian beer world exploded? So
Gerard Peters had visited on a Saturday that small festival in the Café Bierland in Antwerp. And at that moment he thought, that's a good idea. And the Dollar Provers, they had no more activities. So we took that idea and we go further and it's grown up.
and what is the challenge? Because at the beginning it was like maybe 15 Christmas beers in Belgium, but now you have 200.
Yeah,
and they are not delivering it nationwide. So how do you do that?
that is our biggest challenge. It starts just before summer when we try to contact the brewers to see if they're going to brew a winter beer that year, and then we have to order. And especially if you want the beers on a keg, you have to be you have to order very early. And then we have a dedicated team that keep track of all new beers that might become available. And then from say October onwards until this week, we several obers crisscross the country, driving to remote breweries, as Jan did last Saturday when he got stuck in the Ardennes because it was raining and there was mud and his cars got
Yeah.
and but he's not the only one. And now there's Tom, who's our what we call beer cot manager, who keeps track of all the beers and decides how many to order and but it is, as you've said, we are an atypical festival in the sense that we buy our beers ourselves, and we don't have any brewers with stands or that there might be brewers in the hall, but
As a visitor, yeah.
but they're visitors.
And maybe the most important question, if there is some leftovers after the festival, what do you do? Because this is really a very precious thing, all these Christmas beers. Is there
Well,
a...
we've got a members fest in January.
And also a stock sale.
and the stock sale, and luckily we can judge. We over the years we've gotten quite good at judging how many beers to buy. So there's usually some left, but equally there are beers that are guaranteed sold out by the end of the festival. It's yeah, what you say, Fingerspitzengefühl.
Yeah, great German word. So
It
I go back to the presentation. Maybe you can continue with that. Yeah.
Yeah, this was in Parochiecentrum, the previous hall, with our chairman ordering a beer. And knowing
And I see some cheese in the background and bread. So what about food?
there wasn't much food in the beginning.
Okay.
It was some cheese, some bread,
and some Flemish stew.
And Flemish stew, and then for a while we served soup made with beer. And nowadays we have food trucks in front of the hall and a cheese shop inside of the hall. It's gotten better over the years. And
yeah, we have a little question in the chat. Do you know when in Belgium brewers started making dedicated Christmas beers?
well, it's a bit difficult to guess, but in I think that brewers have always since they started brewing brewed a special kind of a heavier version of their beer for this period in the year, and the modern day Christmas beers I guess this started somewhere in the second half of the 19th century. What you had then in the country was there was a sharp divide between Catholic brewers and well, liberal non-Catholic brewers, and there was a struggle between those two brewers, say, and the Catholic brewers, all the brewers wanted to do something special for their clients by the end of the year. And the Catholic brewers called it a Christmas beer, and the non-Catholic brewers called it a New Year's beer. And it had to do with political situation at that moment. In a lot of villages, the brewer was also the mayor, because he had money, he was popular, and it was his. Well, that was the way it was especially in the second half 19th century, first half of the 20th century, and then especially after the First World War, when lots of breweries were destroyed and didn't reopen after the war, it became more or less it gradually evolved into the situation we have now, with consolidation of smaller breweries and growing from a village to a region and things like that. But what I do know is that the first beer, commercial beer on the market that was called a Christmas beer was in fact an English beer, and that was the Gordon's Christmas. They came out in the beginning of the 1930s, but even before that, there were commercial Christmas beer. For example, Stille Artois, which is one of our most popular pilsners until this day. It started out as a Christmas beer I think it was 1926 or 27. And that's why it's called Stella. Stella is Latin for star. It was a Christmas star. And then after the Second World War, in came the Trappists. Like in 1948, Chimay introduced the Chimay Blue as a Christmas beer. So all these kinds of beer, what we are now calling quadruples, were in origin Christmas beers. Hey.
Yeah.
We have fun at the festival.
Yeah, you have special clothings, you have a lot of decorations, so that's.
So we've got some silly hats lying around, but.
Yeah, this is great, and also the idea of using all these spices we associate with Christmas now is also quite new in the way it's composed nowadays. So as you said, in the middle of the 20th century, it all more or less started to get more into this more commercial view. But also now with the rise of numbers of breweries in Belgium, but also in all the other countries, you also have a rising numbers of these Christmas beers, and that also reflects in the festival. Maybe one question about the festival also, you are in the beautiful village or city of Essen. So maybe you can let us know a little bit where it is and what it is and how big it is and something like that.
It's a village on the border between these guys are the brewers that brewed our Christmas our special festival beer of this year. They call themselves Vleesmeester Brewery, and they even got their name from our festival. They were visiting some 10 years or so ago, and they got really drunk. They usually get really drunk. And on the way back to the train station, they passed a butcher, and the butcher was called Vleesmeester, Fleischmeister, meat master. And they vowed that if they would open up a brewery one day, they would call it Vleesmeester. and now it's a fairly successful small brewery, and they have and they're responsible for our Christmas beer this year, which is their black pudding, which is a stoutish kind of beer. And they had it aged on 2 barrels, one Islay whiskey barrel and one French peated whiskey barrel, and they made a blend of the two. I haven't tasted it yet, but I'm very curious.
It sounds great, and I interrupted you with the picture when you were starting to talk about Essen. So maybe you can continue that. Sorry.
What was the saying again?
Essen. Yes.
Essen, Belgium, not Essen, North Rhine-Westphalia. It's a small village on the border. Not much to say about the village. It was burned down in 1542, and by Maarten van Rossum, who was I mean, not going into that. It's a nice village. I think we have now roughly 15,000 inhabitants.
Right, 19.
Okay, I'm being corrected. 19,000 and some. The only problem that we have with Essen is that this is the biggest hall that's available. We could fill a larger hall, but on the other hand, we don't really want that because that means more work, and work is not everybody's favorite pastime.
Yeah, and also it is a bit far off, so it's not so easy to get to Essen. So normally you come through the Netherlands, and many people even stay overnight on the Dutch side, and come in the morning with the train, which is easily done, but still a thing. Did you ever think of going to like a bigger city or even into Brussels or something like that?
No, because the core members of Ober are from Essen, and if we would need a way bigger venue, we'd be almost we have to go to Antwerp, and we don't want to have our festival in Antwerp. It would
Too commercial.
It's too commercial. It would be convoluted, and I know it's hard to reach, but
Direct train, eh?
there's a train.
Yeah, and it's worth it. It's definitely worth every effort to take. So why not? So we continue with the pictures. So
There's our chairman,
Günther Mertens.
Günther Mertens. Remember the name. Behind the tap of the Voeux at last year's festival.
Yeah.
And next year it's the 29th version of the Christmas Beer Festival. A year from now, and the pre-sale starts at September 1st. But if you want to attend, be ready at the phone or at the computer, because this year it was a matter of minutes before the festival was sold out.
And if you want to be sure to become to the festival, that you have to become a member. That's better, I think.
Yeah, if you become a member of Ober, you get a few weeks in advance time to buy a ticket, which might be one of the reasons why we're the biggest club within Zitos.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, and it is great. I think this is the last slide of this presentation. Yeah. Okay, so
the next one is the etiketten.
But we can also talk about this beer, the Gouden Carolus Christmas.
yes, I just wanted to ask if we can have a quick talk on the Gouden Carolus, because now we have really these Christmas spices in the beer. and then we go on. Yeah.
It's a classic one. It's one of the iconic Christmas beers in Belgium. EBV of 10%, 20 ABU, 91 EBC, and I think you can categorize it as a barley wine, a bit sweet, like a candy beer. It's already brewed in July, August, and then aged for several months in the cellars. It has been an inviting aroma, I think, of sweet fruits like banana and pineapple, and then also a bit vanilla, almonds, but especially spiced. It's a mixture of spices like coriander, anise, licorice, and if you talk about the taste, I think it's a bit roasty, malty, sweet, and alcoholic. It is also a bit like porter wine. So you can keep it very well. You can let age it. I think it will be like a fine porter wine. It's 2 times voted as our best Christmas beer at the festival, and it's brewed by a brewery at Anker in Mechelen, a very historic brewery. It was founded in the 15th century. It's taken over by Charles Cliff in the beginning of the 80s, and unfortunately, due to the economic challenges and the lack of succession, the brewery is now up for sale. So it's uncertain what the future holds, and we can only hope that the brewery will be saved, and also this magnificent Gouden Carolus Christmas.
Yeah, maybe if someone of you has a little money left, you could buy the brewery, help us. That would be great. And of course, another great cruise ship place. So if you visit Het Anker, you have the cruise ship really on the roof of the brewery in free space. It's wonderful.
Fantastic, yes.
Yeah.
And also the cellars with all the barrels. And they even have a hotel with 22 rooms. So it's a
Wonderful
very
rooms.
and a restaurant, beer restaurant. Nice place to be.
All right, perfect. So I will start the other presentation in a moment.
Yeah, those are labels of the beers that we had made for our festival.
Go, because I only have my small laptop, I have to switch forth and back, but now I'm here, and here we go.
This was the first one that was for the 20th anniversary of the club, and that was a Stille Nacht that Chris Herteler, the brewer, had let ripe on a wine barrel. It was very nice. It was well. We're going to taste the regular Stille Nacht. And Chris was also I think one of the first brewers that did barrel aging. He started it in
90s.
late 90s with his first, I think it was the Urbier that
Urbier Reserva.
The Urbier Reserva, and then later on he did the Stille Nacht Reservas. And we are lucky enough to have tasted last year or the year before a whole range of Stille Nacht Reservas.
20 difference, yeah.
Over 20 years of Stille Nacht Reservas. And his brewery is in Aerden, which is on the other side of the country.
Not to be confused with Essen,
No.
just one letter off, but
yeah, but he's near the French border and we are at the Dutch border. And we were very lucky to have hired a bus to get home that night.
And now, since all years, we have also very good contacts with Chris and Els, because our visitors elected, I think, 10 times the Stille Nacht as best Christmas beer.
In the next presentation, we've got some pictures of that. It's just a few,
but this beer, it was when it was filled on a Saturday. We were, I think, with 6 people of the team. all the bottles were bottled by hand by us. So that's real craft.
So we went there and we had to put on the caps. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, there's the question in the chat. What exactly is behind the term reserva?
Yeah, another brewer will call it cuvée or cuvée special or barrel aged. I think it's a very small part of the Stille Nacht was filled in barrels of red wine. In this case, Chateau Castigno, and yeah, it's a name of a special.
Yeah, it's a reserve beer, a beer that's kept apart, and it's just
Aged.
a name.
Yeah, also like a special annual beer and things. So I think there's no clear definition, but the meaning is what you just told us. So I go to the next label.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, here we go.
This was our beer of 2017, which was Gedurfde Kerst, which means as much as peated Christmas. It was a triple that was left to ripe on an Islay whiskey barrel, and that means it had a very peated taste, and not everybody liked it, but we sure did. I mean, it is within Ober there's a rather big contingent of people that like this kind of heavy flavored beers, and we were very happy with this beer, and it is still very drinkable if you.
And I think it was aged only 6 weeks on a barrel.
Yeah, it was not that long. It was not even 2 months in total.
Yeah.
And again, we had to go to the brewery to help bottle it.
Yeah, and Islay whiskey is a great aroma, so it works wonderful. To be honest, at the moment I have a Baltic Porter with peated smoke, so it's also fantastic. Yeah. All right, so here we go. Next one.
That was the Zwarte Sneeuw, the Black Snow, which was a black IPA. It was brewed for our 25th Christmas Beer Festival. It was nice, but we had problems with it. The fermentation didn't go too well, and it was very difficult to get it out of the keg. The bottle version was also very how do you say, spontaneous.
Lively.
Yeah, lively. And for that anniversary, we also had another beer. Unfortunately, I forgot to include the label.
Oh, okay.
But that was the only beer that was ever served at the festival that wasn't brewed in Belgium, because we had it brewed just across the border, some 8 kilometers from here, by the Hill Devils in Wouwse Plantage, and there were quite a few comments on it that a lot of Dutch brewers came on the festival to us, volunteering to brew our next festival beer. But we haven't done that. It's just that Hill Devils are very capable brewers. We know them very, very well. They know us, and they were. I mean, it was a nice beer. It was help me. What was the Zilverkerst? It was their IPA aged on bourbon barrels. And then this is the first beer. Well, it was supposed to be the first beer after the COVID pandemic, so it was meant for the festival in 2021. Unfortunately, by the autumn of 2021, COVID resurged or got worse again, and we couldn't have a festival in 2021. We didn't have one in 2020, and none in 2021. So we served this as our Christmas beer festival at the 22 festival, and this was a beer by Karel Teuns, who's a very has been a member for us for like forever, and he has his brewery Sidral, and you might know him from the Saman beer, which is the beer probably with the highest how do you say density and Saman is a autumn beer, and it's I think the version of last year was 17.5% of alcohol in it, with champagne yeast to reach the high alcohol level. But the density of the beer was so high that he mashed the same malt again and made that into another beer called Witches Brew It Better. And this beer, the 2021, was a version of his Witches Brew It Better. Still very drinkable today. And then the next one, that was the last year's beers. That's the Cuvée Waldman, made in honor of Fred Waldman, who was a regular visitor of our festival, a nice guy. And he did the beer app for our festival for a few years. Unfortunately, he died in beginning 2023, and that's why we decided to call the beer Cuvée Waldman. And that was brewed in Essen by Crow Mountain Craft Brewery, and it was their Imperial West Coast IPA that was laid to rest on Calvados barrels. Still very drinkable, even today, if you have them.
Yeah, and very memorable. So Fred was there in 2022, so we met, and no one expected that, and
No, it was
great that you honored him. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And then this year we have the beer from the guys. There was a label in the presentation.
Ah, one moment. I didn't know that. I will get back. Here we go.
And it's called The Butcher's Smoked Christmas. A title I have no idea why he has it, but it is like that. And it's, as I said, a black pudding aged on 2 different barrels and then blended. I haven't tasted it yet. Very curious.
Very strong.
Very strong, Jan says. I don't know. Yeah?
11.
11. That sounds great. So another reason to come, and maybe if there are some leftovers next year. Fantastic. So all the people in the meeting, normally we are already almost over our time, so we have maybe 10 more minutes left. So is there any questions? Please put it on the chat if there is something. And of course, as you already do, please prepare for the final beer. Oh yes, yeah, please prepare for the final beer for Stille Nacht, to bring all of us into the perfect mood for the Christmas time. So if you have any questions about the Christmas beers, about the Belgian tradition, the German tradition, whatever tradition, feel free to ask it now. Otherwise, get your Stille Nacht, and then we will have that together. And I don't know if we have a look at the last presentation in a moment. If there is no question, then we can do that. And please, the discussion of the black IPA is not in this meeting. We can do that on some other meeting. Because that is, I think in general, you know, we also have like cold IPAs and things like that, which is strange, but not referring to the Christmas things. So Anyone? Oh, Brett, your Stille Nacht is not still. So it's the Laude Nacht. Great. And the other ones too, yes. I see. I think I had the last one indeed at the Christmas festival in Essen. So, okay, if there is no other question, maybe Jan, you can, or you're just, oh yeah, you can talk about the beer, and then we can go on with the other
Yeah.
presentation. And now we have one question of some of the Belgian Christmas beers, regular brew with spices added. That's a good question. So, Jan, the question is, if the Christmas beers in Belgium, some of them are just the normal beers with added spices, or is there a general change of the recipe?
It's not necessary to add spices, but it's the traditional way, the old-fashioned way to make a strong beer, or maybe a stronger version of an existing beer, and then with the addition of coriander, anise, licorice, etc. So that's a bit the classical way. But it's not the fact with the Stille Nacht. It's 38 EBC and 32 IBU. It's brewed by the family of Herteleer, father and son, and the Dolle Brouwers were among the first to breathe new life into the Belgian beer culture in the beginning of the 1980. Three brothers were interested in the old St. Henricus brewery, which was up for sale. The brewery already had an infrastructure with old copper kettles, open fermentation tanks, and a Bordeaux cooler. And at that time, it was only a hobby project in the weekend, and they sourced yeast from Rodenbach. And their first beer was Oerbier, brewing only on the weekends. But my personal nice experience were the tours with mother of Chris, called Moose. The mother of Chris became legendary. She lived to be 102 years old, thanks, so she claimed, to drinking good beer, only the beer of the house, and that was especially our beer. Chris Herteleer eventually continued alone, creating from the beginning very bitter beers, very original beers. Bitter beer likes our beer, and also was one of the first to reintroduce a Belgian stout like the stout of the Dolle Brouwers, and also his barrel-aged project. He was one of the first who started with a serious barrel-aged project. Since 1982, they have brewed a special winter beer called Stille Nacht, Silent Night. And it's very strong with more than 12% EBV. As you can see, it's light amber in color and a very nice, unique and complex aroma. Rich with fruity esters of ripe banana, pear, abricot, candied sugar, and hops. And I think also you can recognize it blind within 100 beers. And also in the taste, it's very fruity. I think bitter and also alcoholic, very alcoholic with a long-lasting finish. Each year they brew 4 batches, and sometimes there is some difference between the batches, each sometimes more acid, sometimes more fruity, sometimes more bitter, or sometimes a gusher. So the Stille Nacht has won, what I said, 2 times the award of best Christmas beer, and that makes him, I think, a true legend of the world of Christmas beers. I will say cheers.
Times?
10 times.
You said
More than 10 times.
10 times.
Yes.
If you can show the pictures, Marcus. then you can see
Which one?
the door.
One moment. Yes, one moment. Here we go. And here we go. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this is part of the label. the
Yeah, that's
drawing.
also a funny presentation because it's I think funny outside, serious inside, because the brewer Chris is also architect and a painter, a designer, so it's always sort of other creativity, not only to brew creative beers but also in the labels. Very original.
And these are some of the reservas or non-reservas, but just the Stille Nacht that he had aged in his cellars, and the same as with the 4 batches every year. Some years age very well, other years a bit less, but always an occasion to taste a beer like this. And this was maybe you recognize Jan in the middle. This was in 2005. I don't know if it was the first time they won the best beer award.
Maybe second time.
But and the woman on the left is Els, Chris's wife. And this is a more recent picture with our chairman in the middle. No, this isn't that recent. I see it's got Christmas beer of 2017 on it. But by now they have like a whole wall in their brewery with one award next to another, and then they have a little sign on the wall which says something like, "Our prizes are reasonable." So, but that's the I don't know if probably this is the last one.
Yes. So wonderful. Thank you once again. And last chance, if you have any questions, please put it now in the chat, because we have 3 more minutes to go. Otherwise, you already said that it's hard to get the tickets. Is there, if I want to be a member of Ober, what do I have to do? Do I have to go to the website, or do I have to send you a letter, an email, or how does it work?
Go to the website and then go from there. It's
perfect. So it's ober.be. And yeah, and I can only encourage you. It's a wonderful thing to do, and of course you can get drunk at the festival, but you really have maybe the best selection of any festival, because all these beers are very special, and they are all celebrating the same thing, but in a different way, which is really beautiful. So thank you very much, both of you. You did a wonderful job. You brought us into the world of your Christmas Beer Festival. This was really a great moment and a memorable moment, and I think we have the recording, so this will be kept for the future generations. And
Yeah.
I only can encourage you to continue and to keep on making that festival and bringing these wonderful beers together, because this is a very, very special thing. The effort you take to bring all these beers together for this.
And remember, we only just scratched the surface now, because we like for this year, for example, we have 5 warm beers. We have beers of spontaneous fermentation, winter rehearsals, and practically every beer style that's brewed in Belgium, but in a more heftier way, is a Christmas or winter beer. And if you can make it to Essen, be welcome.
Be welcome.
You're very welcome. That's why.
Yes. And also we have the question in the chat. You can be a volunteer at the festival. That means you have to work, but then you can enjoy. So that could be also another option to
Yeah,
be there and to get it running, to help it.
it's a
run.
possibility.
Perfect. So, Brett, I think the last word is on you.
Thank
So-
you, thank you, Pet, and thank you, Marcus. Fantastic, and we just set everyone up for Christmas. So sometimes people don't like to use the C word, and maybe we should use the winter word. But whatever, it just set me up brilliantly. So thank you very, very much, and I really enjoyed it. And thanks to Marcus. So have a lovely Christmas and winter period, everyone. And we'll see you in February for our next workshop. Thanks all. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.